Hello everyone, my name is Matt, and probably you can guess what this video is going to be talking about. So at the top of it, I just want to give a content warning for things such as sexual harassment, sexual assault, and suicide. Because we are going to be discussing the lawsuit that the state of California has slapped Activision-Blizzard with, and a lot of things relating to that, including the company's responses, current and former employees' responses, content creators' responses, and fan responses. So, I'm sure by now virtually everyone has heard the news. If not, I'm not going to recap it, but I will link the lawsuit down below. Suffice it to say, many rampant reported cases of sexual harassment of female employees by people who work at Activision Blizzard, and the lawsuit specifically almost exclusively focuses on Blizzard itself. So, right out of the gate, before we start this, I'm not interested in hearing people say, oh, this is just Activision. No, this is Blizzard. And in fact, the two people who are named the most in the lawsuit are J. Allen Brack, and then a section specifically calling out Alex Afrasiabi, both of which are Warcraft and Blizzard employees. So, I'm not going to go through and recap all of the people's responses to what's going on, but suffice it to say, Activision and Blizzard don't even seem to be on the same page with what's going on with this lawsuit, because Activision has done everything from coming out and saying, oh, these are all fabricated and exaggerated lies, to a 4-month-old employee who used to be part of the Bush administration coming out and saying, like, this is all bullshit, I haven't seen any of this since I've been here. And it's like, yeah, you've been here for 4 months, lady. Also, aren't you the pro-torture lady that was in George Bush's administration? Not exactly a trustworthy source for multiple reasons. But then you had stuff from, like, J. Allen Brack, who is president of Blizzard, coming out and saying, this is unacceptable, this is unacceptable. So they don't even have their own internal consistency, because Activision seems to be implying that this is all made up shit. J. Allen Brack, while not saying it explicitly, seems to be implying this has happened and it's unacceptable. You have former employees like Mike Morhaime coming out and saying that he didn't know anything about this, but he feels like he's failed. Chris Metzen has made multiple statements now, and I think he's just putting his foot further and further in his mouth. First coming out with a 2-page statement saying, I'm sorry that we failed you, and then specifically coming out and talking about Alex Afrasiabi and how much he liked to work with him, but he didn't know what was going on. First of all, Metzen, God, I love Chris Metzen as a person from what I know of him, but, dude, when there's a lawsuit going on and the dude you're talking about is explicitly named in the lawsuit as having a Cosby suite at any function and was known to touch and grope and kiss people without their consent, you don't fucking come out and say, I loved working with him, but I didn't know what was going on. You just omit that part from what's going on right now, because it either makes you look like a dumbass or someone who's trying to softball defense in a weird roundabout way. I just don't know. I would say all these other people who have responded very clearly seem like lawyer PR responses. Metzen's first one felt like that, but he added a couple more flowery sentences to it, so everyone swooned over it and said, oh, this is our war chief, this is the war chief that we need. And my response is like, stop fucking pretending this is a video game, this is a real thing, where a woman was harassed so much that she took her own life in the process. So let's stop comparing it to Thrall and Garrosh, because it's not a joking like, oh, it's a fun comparison. No, it's a very serious situation, so stop it. But Metzen's next statements after that seems like he just doesn't know what he's saying. He's trying to distance himself as much as he possibly can from what's going on. And I'm sorry, everybody. I'm really sorry if this is going to piss off people. I don't believe it. I don't believe Mike Morhaime didn't know what was going on. I don't believe Chris Metzen did not know what was going on. Bobby Kotick hasn't responded, but he has his own sexual assault allegations against him that were quietly swept behind the rug in lawsuits. So this is a pervasive culture at Activision and Blizzard. And J. Allen Brack is named in the lawsuit as having known what was going on with Alex Afrasiabi, and supposedly trying to stop him by taking him aside and speaking with him, not actually taking any actions as president to like fire him or suspend him or mandatorily force him to go to some kind of corporate therapy or something. He did nothing of actual worth, but he talked with him and held him aside. And if J. Allen Brack, who has been president for 3 years now, knew all this was going on, Mike Morhaime, who's been president of Blizzard and CEO for decades, knew what was going on. Chris Metzen, who worked directly with Alex Afrasiabi, no matter what Metzen wants to say, like, oh, I wasn't his boss. Metzen was the president in charge of all of the story of the entire company's franchises. Alex Afrasiabi was in charge of the story of Warcraft. You're telling me the guy in charge of the story of Warcraft didn't report to the guy in charge of the story of all the franchises? Give me a fucking break. Maybe, like, technically under some managerial statement or application of titles of each what they had, they technically weren't manager and boss, but Metzen oversaw all of the story of all the franchises. Afrasiabi oversaw the story of one of the franchises. Clearly, Metzen was just the tier above. So don't tell me that these people don't know what's going on. Metzen implying that the way he described it basically was, oh, I just came to work and did my job, and I didn't really interact with Afrasiabi outside of work. But then there's stuff like him constantly praising Afrasiabi everywhere you look. When he showed up to BlizzCon 2018 after he had left, he went to the BlizzCon panel and asked a question of Afrasiabi and said, one of the things I miss the most is working with this sexy man. Sorry, I hit my mic. But this stuff really pisses me off. And if you want to know why, not that you actually need a reason to be angry at this, but I have a friend who I've known for a long time, and she experienced something similar to this at a company she worked at. And she's told me in graphic detail how HR departments don't fucking help you do anything to solve this, and they just want to sweep it under the rug because they want to avoid lawsuits. So if you're wondering why I'm particularly angry about this, it's because that's what I have in the back of my mind when I hear and I see all this shit. When I hear and I see Metzen saying, I didn't know what was going on. I had no idea what was going on at the time. I only came to work and I worked with Alex and I didn't really interact with whatever. You came to the BlizzCon panel and said, one of the most things I miss is working with this sexy man, referring to him. Don't tell me he didn't at least have an inkling what was going on. Metzen has his own issues that I don't want to bring up here, but he had problems that were not private at Blizzard, where everyone knew what was going on. It wasn't to the level of, like, sexual assault, but it was stuff like overly relying on alcohol and stuff like that. And I don't want to smear Metzen, but that was a very public story that even I've heard from people I know who talk to other people who work at Blizzard. So it's not exactly a secret. But I have to say, this idea that all these people who used to work at Blizzard, just nobody knew what was going on at the time, even though the guy who was president for 3 years only apparently knew everything and was trying to stop it. So don't tell me Morhaime and Metzen and probably Jeff Kaplan, and I kind of wonder why all these people suddenly started leaving within the last 2 years when we've known this lawsuit's been going on for 2 years, why all these people suddenly started quietly leaving. I guess we know now why Afrasiabi quietly left in 2020, of the summer 2020, without anyone knowing what happened. Because of this. And content creators who have contacts inside Blizzard describe Afrasiabi's firing or him leaving or their mutual departure, whatever actually happened, either he left or was fired or they agreed for him to leave, as a sacrificial lamb, which directly implies there's a lot more people going on in that company who still are there who are doing this behavior and getting away with it. At this point, as of this video, 1,000 people, 1,000 plus Blizzard employees have written and signed a statement delivered directly to directly to J. Allen Brack and Bobby Kotick about how their responses have been unacceptable. So I will say, I will give kudos to the Blizzard employees who didn't know what was going on for standing up for their job, because in a lot of jobs like this, standing up is often something you do on your own, and you get punished for it, which is a story after story after story after story we've heard from victims at Blizzard, where they went to their HR, or they went to their managers, and nothing was done, or worse, the person reporting their abuse was actually punished instead, to sweep it under the rug. And I gotta give kudos to them, but I will first speak on what I'm going to be doing now in terms of this channel, in terms of Blizzard products, and then we're going to talk about content creators and fans, and just to be forewarned, if you are a fan or a content creator or a fan of a content creator who have already rationalized in your head why it's still acceptable to play, consume, and support Blizzard products after this news, the rest of this video is not going to be kind to you. I will not be pulling my punches, and I will be saying things that I fervently believe and will probably hurt your feelings, because boy, are people pissing me off about this. So first of all, for myself, as is evidence from this channel, that I used to upload Warcraft content all the time, I have been doing it less so because I don't like the direction of the game. I don't like the gameplay. I don't like the story. I really don't like what's going on in general in Warcraft right now. So I pretty much was only responding to cinematics or like a short story that may come out that I really liked. But as of this moment, I am done doing any Blizzard content on this channel. I know that Tyrande and Elune cinematic is supposed to be coming out next week. I will not be reacting to it. I'll probably watch it on YouTube on my own in private because I'm not giving Blizzard any support in that way. But I will not be covering it. I will not be speaking about it on this channel. I will not be covering any Blizzard products. I will not be talking about Blizzard products. I will not be supporting Blizzard products. My subscription for Warcraft was going to run out in a couple days anyway, and I wasn't going to resubscribe, but this for sure as hell means I'm not going to be resubscribing. In my own personal opinion, 9.2 was going to have to blow my socks off for me to come back. Otherwise, I was just not going to, and I wasn't going to buy the next expansion, and for sure now, I'm doing neither of those things. At the very, very barest of minimum least, what they have to do to make me even reconsider supporting them, not even doing it, but just considering it again, is J. Allen Brack has to be fired. He knew exactly what was going on. The lawsuit names him and specifically points out things that he did behind the scenes to diminish and to try and sweep this Afrasiabi news under the rug. So J. Allen Brack at the very least has to be gone. And I want to hear more than just his own firing. Other people need to be fired as well, because there are very clearly other people who still work at Blizzard that are doing these things, and none of them have been let go except for Alex Afrasiabi. And just because you cut out the most rotten piece of a fruit doesn't mean there's not other rot in the fruit, and you don't continue to just eat a rotten piece of fruit because you cut out the most worst rotten part. You throw the whole fruit in the fucking trash, which is what needs to be done here. So that's it. And I have to say, I know people are going to see that my opinion on about covering this topic and go, oh, well, Necroxis, you already didn't like Blizzard, so this is not exactly surprising. No, actually, I don't like current Warcraft. I still really like the franchises of StarCraft, Diablo. I was really excited for Diablo 4. Diablo 2 Resurrected, I kind of was over. I kind of came to realize as I've gotten older that I don't really like Diablo 2 in retrospective. I only loved it because I played like thousands and thousands, literally thousands of hours with my friends in like junior high and freshman year, and that's the only reason I liked it. So I was considering getting it because I know a lot of my old friends who still played with me back then were going to be playing now. But yeah, not getting it. I was really excited for Diablo 4, and I was intrigued with what they were going to do with the story mode of Overwatch 2. But it's certainly not hard for me to say I'm not going to buy a video game because the company that makes it fosters a fucking harassing company that abuses women to the point of taking their own lives. That is not a hard choice for me to make, but apparently it is for a lot of other people. So let's start talking about content creators. To the credit of some people, some content creators, I know Towley has said he is no longer going to be streaming the game, although he said he still will be playing it, which is problematic. But there are some people who have said that they are done with Warcraft. Most of these are smaller creators like myself who don't have a vested financial interest in the game's success, so it's pretty easy for us to say we're done. But you have other people like a pretty big content creator in this franchise who just put out an unhinged video saying things like, oh, don't tell other people to unsub because that's not right for them. But if you unsub, that's right for you. And how dare you tell other people what to do with their sub money? Fucking unhinged nonsense like that, I do not support in the slightest, and I think people like that are literally encouraging other people to continue putting money into a product made by a company that fosters sexually harassing behavior of their employees to other women employees because they have a financial interest in the game succeeding. I am sorry if you are a content creator who staked your entire livelihood on one fucking video game. That was your mistake that you made. Don't you dare go and tell other people they still need to subscribe and support this fucking video game just because you feel bad that there are good people at Blizzard who do this or who do that, and by not subscribing, you're going to hurt them. You know what? It doesn't matter if Blizzard is doing well. They will still lay off people, even if they are doing well. You guys remember 2019? Blizzard had a record performance. They did a record-setting financial performance, and they laid off 800 fucking people. It doesn't matter if the game is wildly successful. It doesn't matter if the game is wildly a failure. Blizzard will still lay off people if they think they can save money. It happened in 2019. It happened just now in 2021, where they laid off another 190 people while Bobby fucking Kotick, the CEO, was slated to make another $200 million. And then Activision came out and said they did this whole PR thing where they're like, oh, Bobby's not going to take this bonus this time, and acted like this was some big grand gesture that this billionaire was doing. And all these wild content creators were like, oh, they listened to us. They listened to us. It's like the most basic kind of PR works on these brain-dead people who don't think critically for 1 second. So if you are a content creator who are sitting there going, oh, I can't tell people to unsub because of X, Y, or Z, I think you are a bad person. I think you are indirectly, not directly, you are indirectly aiding in what is going on at this company, where nothing has been changed so far yet, by the way. No one has been fired. No one has been let go as a result of this news. You are indirectly adding to the harassment that female employees are receiving by continuing to give money to this product. You can get on your Twitch or your YouTube channel and say whatever you want. You can say Warcraft belongs to us. It doesn't belong to Blizzard. It belongs to Towley and Asmongold and Anfusia and all these other people. You can go on and say it. The truth is, it belongs to fucking Activision-Blizzard. And giving money to Activision-Blizzard is supporting what's going on. So spare me this fake indignation of going after people who are saying stop supporting the game because you're hurting the good employees, when the good employees will get fucked over no matter what happens regardless at the company. So stop. And if you are a fan, at least in some perverted, corrupted, twisted way, I can kind of understand why people who have a vested financial interest with like being a content creator or a streamer or a YouTuber to try and pretzel logic themselves any possible way into supporting the game still, because it's tied to your vested financial interest. I can kind of see where they're coming from in that regard. But if you are a fan who has no vested financial interest except that you like and you play a video game and you are still giving money to this company, you are, I think, a bad person. I think you are, again, directly contributing to this horrific, toxic, evil culture going on at this company. And you can rationalize it however you want. You can rationalize it as, oh, this is my chief socialization game that I play with other people. This is the only way that I can communicate with other people. And you know what? I have sympathy for that, because I definitely went through periods in my life where my chief way that I socialized with people was on World of Warcraft. But you know what? All of these people who I've seen saying this thing, I know for a fact, are on Discord servers with all their fucking friends that play this video game, and you can still interact with them just as easily as if you're playing World of Warcraft. Especially if you're like a role player. You do realize you can role play without being in the game, right? We've been doing that for 30 years. That's originally how role playing on the internet started. You didn't have to be in the game to role play. So spare me all these stupid ass dumb excuses of why you can't stop supporting the game. And I just want to say, my comments on fans and content creators, I don't apply to actual Blizzard employees, because unlike the other groups, they literally have no choice. This is their job. And if you want to say, oh, that's true of streamers, I disagree. The good streamers, the ones who are successful, people don't come to watch them play World of Warcraft. They watch the streamer for themselves. A good example is Asmongold. I'm not a big fan of Asmongold. It's shocking if you've been following my Twitter. But he's not popular because he plays World of Warcraft. You know how I know this? Because he tried out Final Fantasy XIV and he got more fucking viewers than he ever did in his entire life streaming. People come for the personality. And if you're sitting there telling me that the only reason people watch you is because you play World of Warcraft, or you play Diablo 3, or you play Heroes of the Storm to the 2 people that are still playing that game, or whatever else, then you are a bad content creator, and I don't feel bad saying that you should not support a company anymore. You should broaden your horizons, and you should know that most reasons people watch a content creator is because of the content creator, not because of the fucking game that they're playing. So I wanted to say, I don't feel this way about actual Blizzard employees. They are the only ones in this scenario that I think get a pass because it's literally, they live in California. It's their financial livelihood. They can't just quit their job on the spot and go find something else. They are a separate class in this situation, and I don't want to make it seem like my comments here are referring to them in any possible way, because they don't, and I don't believe that they should be. They are their own special, unique case, and I think it's totally acceptable for them to continue working there to try and change the culture. But I don't think that fucking consumers should give up their only power that they have. Here's a little, like, a very, very, it's not even Econ 101, it's like Econ 099. The only power that consumers have is their buying power, what they choose to support with their money. And if you give up your buying power and you continue to use your one source of power to continue to give money to this company, I have no sympathy for you. I think you're a bad person, and I think you're indirectly supporting this terrible culture. And that's just what it is. And I'm sorry if that makes you upset or mad, but maybe reflect on the fact why you need to put your whole person into this video game in order to feel complete. Maybe if that's the case, you should possibly consider seeking out therapy. Trust me, it's good. I've done therapy quite a lot. It actually helps you quite a lot. So I just don't have sympathy for you. And I honestly, I will look down on you. And I won't be publicly bashing you nonstop. I have been recently, just because this is fresh news. But like 6 months down the line, if you continue to support Blizzard, I won't be like publicly attacking you. But in my mind, I will think, oh, these people are bad people. They are not moral people. They don't give two shits about this horrible stuff that happened, about this woman who took her own life, about these people who are harassed into silence and threatened when they tried to speak up. I will not think that you are a good moral person. I will think you are someone who couldn't give up playing a fucking video game to make a stance against a terrible, evil company, which is what Blizzard is now. They are Ubisoft, who had this exact same situation. Ubisoft ended up firing one person, and then they just switched all their managers around in different departments and pretended everything was fine. And you know what? People still defend Ubisoft to this day, and no matter what Blizzard does, they could do nothing in result of all this news, and people will still find a way to defend them. And just like with the Ubisoft defenders, the Blizzard defenders, I will consider you bad people. People who are immoral, people who have no morals, people who would rather play a stupid video game than stick up for women and other people who are being harassed. Not even just women. I've seen like 4 or 5 different accounts of men who worked at Blizzard saying they were harassed, and nothing was done of it. And it was laughed off, almost even in a worse scenario. I don't want to judge whose trauma is worse, but they were laughed off with this toxic masculinity mindset, like, oh, it's just a joke, it's just bros being bros. Like, it's not a gendered issue at this point. Yes, many more women have been harassed than men, but men have been harassed too. I've seen, again, 3 to 4 first-hand accounts on Twitter from people who worked at Blizzard saying this happened. And this is not some frivolous, someone wrote a twit longer saying somebody touched my butt at a party. This is a 2-year in-depth investigation by the state of California into a fucking company. This is serious. This is not a he said, she said thing. This is a thing where they've been looking for 2 years into this extensively, knowing the extensive history of multiple employees in graphic, vivid detail. I haven't even described the worst stuff about it. And I've already talked about the woman who took her own life. Go and read the lawsuit. I will link it in the description below. And it will make you fucking sick. And if you read all those pages and you get to the end and you still say, I'm going to pay my $15 to play World of Warcraft, I think you're lost. I think you are a lost cause. I don't know how. I cannot empathize with you as another human being because you clearly can't empathize with other people as human beings. So those are my thoughts on this issue, and I'm sorry if you're upset about what I said, but it is the truth, and I think you know it's the truth, and I think this is why so many people are struggling and rushing and trying to pretzel themselves into any possible explanation they can give to keep supporting the game, because they know in their heart that it's wrong, but they are either addicted or they are afraid of what it means for them to not play a video game. And that's just exactly how I feel. So thank you for watching this video. I don't know what's going to be next on this channel. Probably Endwalker. Because I'm going to be covering that. Because that's going to be cool. And I don't want to make this come off and say like, oh, boycott Blizzard and play Final Fantasy XIV. This is the first time I mentioned my own self playing it. I mentioned it with Asmongold just because it was relevant to the point I was making. But that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm not making some joke where I'm like, oh, Warcraft's bad. Go play Final Fantasy. No, this is a serious situation. Chris Metzen's not fucking Thrall. Alex Afrasiabi's not Garage. This isn't about what MMO is better than another one. This is about a company doing heinous, evil, disgusting shit, and people continuing to defend them and finding any reason to keep giving them money. And again, I think that is just abhorrent. So, thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And, if you're like me and there's not much else you can do, use your buying power. Do not support Blizzard, and try and amplify voices when you see. I've been retweeting constantly. I know if you've been following me, I'm sorry, but every time I see a new story, I have to feel the need to retweet it because that's the only thing I can do. Besides not giving the company money, that's the only thing I can do to make myself feel like I haven't contributed because I've given Blizzard money for so long. And it's easing my own conscience that I have. Because I do feel guilty supporting this company that's done this shit for so long. When there have been signs in the past of the company not doing things to help people who have been harassed. People like Trade Chat, Panzer, when the World of Warcraft Classic stuff was going on. Go and read her comments about this situation. About how she was raked over the coals by the community because she made negative comments about World of Warcraft Classic. And then find out that she was told to say those things by J. Allen Brack. And after she did, she was thrown under the bus and not defended. So when I read that, I was like, holy shit. So I do feel some level of guilt for supporting this company that allowed this to happen. And that's the only way I can help ease my conscience is by A, not giving them money. B, not going on fucking social media and defending people who are still giving them money. And C, retweeting victim stories when I see them. Because that's all I can do. So, thank you for watching, everyone, and have a good night.